Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out for the official kickoff of AgTech Week. And we couldn't start off in a better way to celebrate Champaign-Urbana as the epicenter of agriculture innovation than the launch we're about to hear about today. And it's my pleasure to get to introduce Dennis Beard, who's somebody I've had the pleasure of working with for, close to 15 years, I think. And of course, now as we move into this next chapter, it'll show his talents off of how he's able to cultivate a community, embrace new startup companies into our community, guide them, mentor them, and help to really create a different and special place. First doing that in his work with Open Prairie Ventures, and for most of us working with him over the last many years since Eyesight sold to be with Sarah Ventures and building companies in this region, becoming predominantly known as one of the best AgTech investors in the country and really making a huge difference to so many companies that have had the chance to work with Dennis, including some that are in the room. One of our own that we're also excited to have had here was Agribold, that's now Nutrien, and that's just one example, I think, of all the things that we can do when we work together and that we celebrate what this community has: growers, a great university, entrepreneurs, and technology leaders. So I'd like to welcome Dennis, and he's going to tell you what this announcement's all about. And I'd also like to thank everybody who's been involved in AgTech Week planning and the AgTech work group. So that includes the Champaign County Economic Development Corporations, the City of Champaign, the City of Urbana, our local peers from Parkland, the Chamber of Commerce, and our partners that are companies here, including those that have locations here in Champaign. Andrea Rudy for helping to co-chair our AgTech group here locally that is bringing people together. And it's been a real effort to work together. And of course, we're excited to have many growers in town this week because all of us are building things we hope that they will adopt as well. Dennis, all yours.
I'm going to hold this to about 30 minutes. I wrote notes because I'm getting forgetful. I didn't want to forget at least a few people to mention. But anyway, thanks for everybody coming here today. This announcement that we're making today about our new AgTech Accelerator is something that's been in the works for really more than 2 years. I think I first spoke to Troy. We got on the phone together with the Sarah Ventures team a little over 2 years ago. I think it was maybe in January or even December 2 years ago. A little more than. Sarah, my firm, Sarah Ventures, I'm partners with Tim and Rob, and we've got our Champaign team all here today. We've been kicking around the idea of bringing an AgTech Accelerator here to Champaign-Urbana because we really like companies that have been through accelerators. We think the accelerator program gives companies an edge. We have a couple of accelerator companies here in town already, the iCore program on the campus, as well as the iVenture program for the student startups, and we're all proud of those. And so we've been thinking about maybe doing one in a special vertical, and Generator is starting to do accelerators in verticals, and we thought ag would be a terrific place. This is a great place to host startup companies in the ag space. Several of us, including some people in this room, are on the Chancellor's Economic Development Council, and I was invited to join that group, and we were starting to kick around what can we do to help the ag community, especially mature companies, startup companies, everything in between. And this idea, the accelerator, kept bubbling up, and finally I kind of broke the news. We've been talking about this at Sarah. We've already been talking to the Generator people. Let's just do this. And the problem with that is when you say something that definitive, you end up, carrying the load. And unfortunately, I didn't have to carry that by myself. There are a lot of people, including people in this room, who've done quite a bit of work on that, but we had to jump right in. But the good news was, when we talked about this, the idea was resonating. An AgTech Accelerator right here in Champaign. So if you don't know about it, most people in here do, I think. AgTech Accelerators, they're programs that combine education, mentoring, networking, and funding for young technology companies, usually technology companies. And the idea is to give them an advantage, an edge, so they have a better chance of being successful as they grow. And as investors in young companies at Sarah Ventures, we've learned that we really like it when companies have been through these accelerators. We believe it helps quite a bit. We also think, from an ag tech perspective, we're in an epicenter, maybe the epicenter. I'm not shy enough to not say that. I really, after listening to Bruce Sherrick's talk to our breakfast group a few months ago, I'm convinced this is the best place in the world to start an AgTech Accelerator program for young companies. We've got, of course, our world-class research university that has wonderful resources. Everybody knows about this research park, the Institute for Genomic Biology, IBRL, the farms, NCSA, on, and I won't read everything that I thought of here, but on top of that, we've got some leading ag businesses right here in the park and around town and close by down the road in Decatur, Danville. We're near a lot of good things in that space. And of course, we've got some of the most productive farmland in the world. And those of you who know about soils, Champaign County has some of the top soil, best soil there is. So anyway, going back a couple of years, we talked to several operators of accelerators. I think Rob Schultz, my partner, was kind of driving the boat on this idea, and Tim, and we all started calling on people we know, and I think, Tim, it was your idea to call Troy, and we got Troy. After talking to others, it just clicked. Troy seemed to think this was a really good idea, and basing one here at this campus with what we've got going on might be good for them. And so we jumped right in. I'm going to let Troy explain a little bit more about Generator, but just let me tell you a couple things about them. They're now in 20 locations, mostly in the heartland of the U.S., and although you have an operation in Canada and you're out on the West Coast as well, and consistently ranked among the top programs of over 300 programs in the U.S. Generator consistently ranks in the top. Year after year. We've worked with them. We look at companies that are graduating from their programs regularly. We've got investments in some of their graduate companies. We knew we were dealing with a quality team. So they seem to be as excited about this as we were, so we thought it was a natural fit. I want to thank a few people that helped pull this together real quickly. We've got several people that have provided financial support and in-kind support to get this launched. In addition to my firm, Sarah Ventures, that I mentioned, we've got AgriFab, out of Sullivan, Illinois, which is an amazing success story if you don't know about AgriFab. Gary Harvey, the CFO, is kind of the point person for us, and he just got back from a trip today and told me he wasn't going to be able to make it up here, but perhaps we'll have a chance to introduce you to Gary at one of the breakfasts or one of the upcoming events. Fox, Peter and Andrea and the people at Fox Development, Fox Atkins Development, Fox Ventures, that whole group has been phenomenal, not just providing financial and in-kind support to the program going forward, but a lot of resources and a ton of time. Sam's been huge on this, helping us get this thing pulled together, Sam Rogers. So we'll forever be grateful on that, and everybody at Generator knows who Sam is now, and they're clear up in Wisconsin most of the time, and Minneapolis. We've got Gem Realty, and Mike Fox is here. There's Mike over there, and Jeremy Franklin. Many of you met Jeremy. They've been very enthusiastic from the very beginning when we first brought this up, when Troy came down. EDC, the Illinois AgTech partnership, Carly was the very first supporter to come through with a definitive amount of sponsorship, which is awesome to be able to say we have them on board. We've got the U of I Research Park, and Susan Martinez in the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research are all on board. Anyway, we're going to continue to talk to other people who would be interested in sponsoring and helping out as mentors, participating in the program. So if you're interested in learning more or doing something with us, be sure to reach out to me or to Troy or anybody in the group. We're happy to talk. We want to get the word out. So with that, I want to say one more time thanks to everybody. And I want to introduce Troy Vossler. Troy is one of the founding partners of Generator, which is a fabulous program. Generator.com, right, is where the general information is, and he can give you more specifics, but you need to check it out. I love their website, and every time I talk to Troy, it seems like they're adding another city or another program, and we talk every week at least, so it's really growing rapidly. So anyway, thanks a lot, and please welcome Troy Vossler.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the introduction, Dennis, and we're so happy to be down here in Champaign and to be able to announce this wonderful consortium of investors and sponsors and mentors and corporate partners and university partners to launch the Illinois AgTech Accelerator. A little bit of background on Generator. As Dennis mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders. We started 8 years ago with the mission of wanting to be the best partner for a community to invest in its best and brightest. And in order to make that happen, it takes a room like this. It takes, everything from state government, county government, municipalities, universities, tech transfer and research parks, but also corporations and private companies, startups, entrepreneurs, and mentors in the ecosystem. And so to see it turn out like this is really inspiring and sets a fantastic foundation for what we're trying to build on top of that. Over our 8-year history, we have expanded to 20 different markets, and very much our generator brand is on the Midwest. We take particular pride in that in those national rankings that Dennis mentioned, we're the only player in the top 15 that is not headquartered in the top 10 metro market. So we're kind of this odd duck that is in Champaign and Madison and Cincinnati and Cleveland and Indianapolis, and markets that are not Silicon Valley, they're not Boston, they're not New York. And in doing so, we want to create a rich network. What we don't want is to see startups that kind of dwindle in kind of a parochialism where they can never break through, but rather we want people to know that no matter where you are in the country, in these secondary, tertiary markets in particular, you can be a fantastically successful entrepreneur, and we can help connect you to the sources of capital, to new customers, new sources of revenue, as well as talent throughout the network that we've developed. And so with that, a handful of our graduates from our accelerator programs have gone on to receive investment from Sierra Ventures. And through that relationship, that transactional nature, we've gotten to know Dennis and the rest of his team and really saw an opportunity to build an industry-specific program around agriculture here in Champaign. And so with that, underneath the Illinois AgTech Accelerator umbrella, there's really going to be 2 different programs that we're launching effective today. The first is our G-Beta program, and we're calling it G-Beta AgTech. What G-Beta AgTech is a 7-week accelerator program, and it'll recruit startups from all over the world, but in particular, we want G-Beta to serve as a mechanism for local startups or startups from throughout the region who are looking to grow and take it to the next level. That's a 7-week-long program, and each of those startups will receive a $25,000 investment on their existing terms. So this is kind of an important nuance in that most accelerators historically will take a predetermined amount of equity up front, let's say 6 or 7% stock up front. In this model, we're going to invest that full $25,000 on their existing terms. So if this startup comes to us and they already have investment terms in place, we will invest on those same existing terms. If they don't currently have terms, we'll simply advance that $25,000 on a convertible note to be converted into the next round of financing, whenever those terms are decided. So by doing so, we wanted to design this model to make it as frictionless as possible for the very best entrepreneurs, the very best startups to engage in this programming. The second piece is kind of what we call our flagship generator program. That'll be a more, let's call it advanced, more extensive 12-week accelerator program. And during which the startups, again, will apply from around the world. And in that case, we're investing $100,000 into each of those startups on those same market terms. So again, we'll invest the full $100,000 on whatever their current terms or valuation are coming into the accelerator, or we will advance that $100,000 on a convertible note. So again, the design purpose is to make this as frictionless as possible for really startups with a little bit more meat on the bone to engage with this program. And that's really feedback that we've received from some of the corporate sponsors and corporate investors in this program, is that they're looking for startups that are still very much early stage in the grand scheme of things, but like I mentioned, a little bit more meat on the bone so that they can more meaningfully engage with those companies. So that's what we're excited to announce today. You can visit our website, gbetaagtech.com. With more details, the application is already open for that initial G-Beta program. And with that, we'll be announcing dates soon. We don't have them quite yet, but we're thrilled to be here in Champaign. We're thrilled to be at the Research Park and thankful for all the corporate partners and investors who helped make this program possible. With that, Dennis and I are happy to answer any additional questions as we continue to network and mingle, but feel free to grab another cookie, another soda, and we're happy to launch this and have the secret out of the bag. So thank you everyone for being here, and we look forward to your partnership here in Champaign. Thank you.